All right. Okay, welcome everybody, and welcome Daniel Lamarre from the Cirque du Soleil. You are all welcome to the University of Fordham University, and the class is the Innovation and Managing Growth. And this is in the Organization Leadership PCS program. And really, I'm very happy and very, very happy that Daniel accepted this invitation to meet with the students who are, in fact, and that's really an incredible thing that happens this year. There must be a reason I'm not sure about, but there is some professional dancers in the class, in a good number of them, and there is some other performers that are professional performers, and this is why I, in fact, changed my class and my course completely and moved it to performing arts and how to lead and be a leader in performing arts, which is another kind of idea. So this is why we are with Danielle, and it's a very good way to start a semester is to be with a professional and a figure in this industry. So thank you again, Danielle.
I'm glad to be here, and I hope I can be helpful.
Yes, yes, I'm sure you will be extremely helpful. So maybe I'll take the first, I will ask you the first question, which is not going to be a very academic question, and then we'll have everybody else to participate, and I invite everybody to participate. My question is about you and those days, what happens by you in your life, and if you can, because you have a long title, explain also in a few seconds what you're doing exactly at the Cirque du Soleil today in 2025.
Yeah, first of all, I used to be the owner of the largest public relation firm in Canada, and I sold my share to my partners to become the CEO of a TV network. And after that, I joined Cirque. That was 24 years ago, and I've been the CEO for many, many years. Go through the pandemic where we
Yeah.
were afraid that we will lose our company, and then finally saved the company. And then I decided to give my job to someone else and remain as the vice chairman of the company. And then recently, a few months ago, the board asked me to come back as the CEO of the company, and hopefully one day I'll find someone else to take over from me, because the reality is I really enjoyed acting as the vice chairman because it gave me more time to do what I love to do, which is business development. Because when you do business development, what you do is you create jobs for creators and artists. And that's what is driving me as the head of Cirque du Soleil.
Hmm. That's very, very interesting. Okay. Thank you for that explanation. So anyone with a question or anything that you want to share? Jump in.
I have a question.
This is
Hi.
Lauren. Okay.
Hi,
Hello.
Lori Dobbins here. So I'd like to know how you were able to navigate your leadership and the leadership roles, your styles going from PR to television and to Cirque. How did you navigate the different styles, given it's a more creative platform?
Yeah, I have to admit that in PR and even in television, it was quite traditional business model. At Cirque, it's very, very different because the core of what we do is create shows. So creativity is really our core business. Because if we develop a good show, we have a good business. If we don't do a good show, we have no business. And so my job here, what makes me have fun in doing what I'm doing is because I can work even if I'm at the origin a business guy. I love artists and I love creators. And I don't think that the traditional business person, if you don't like creators and artists, you could do my job. And when I joined the company, people were kind of scared to see the business guy coming in because the founder was an artist. And they were afraid of me saying, "Oh my God, a business guy is going to change everything." And they were secure after a while to see that I understood that the artistic content was at the core of everything we do. And that's why I've been able to be the leader of this organization for so many years.
Incredible. So thank you. You've actually answered the second part of my question. I was going to ask about creativity, the balance and act between creativity and commerce. How have you navigated that? Because that can be rather tricky, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting you say that because that's the title of the book I wrote, which is Balancing Act. That's exactly the title of my book because it is a balancing act. Because if you listen to the creative people, they never have enough money to do their show. If you ask to our, business people, they will say that they have too much money to do their show. And that's where I become the referee and make sure that that the artists understand that there are some limits and that the business people understand that, the core again is our content.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? If you can still think about questions, I have one coming, so I can take my turn the turn again. I don't want to be dominating too much, but as you said, 24 years, and I think when you started, you were working with the founder, Guy Laliberté, was the visionary originally of this, and I think many people know his story that he started in the street and started to build a billion-dollar company at the time. I don't know. I'm probably in the old ages because I know the Cirque for about the same number of years that you've been there, maybe even a bit more. I don't know. But anyway, my question is so if you could eventually tell us those 24 years, is there some kind of phases or stages that you can see and define to show how this company became what it is today?
Yeah, yeah, there is a clear event, and that was when we did the deal with the Beatles. And I remember that like if it was yesterday, because when we did the opening of the show in Las Vegas with the Beatles, we went from, I would say a North American company to a global company almost overnight, because the coverage of that premiere was worldwide. I remember CNN was there live, and there was hundreds of journalists surrounding, George, Paul, and Ringo, and it brought our brand to the next level. And that was an interesting story because, for 30 years, all the live show company in the world wanted to do a show with the music of the Beatles, and the Beatles always said no.
Mhm.
And what happened is that, our founder, Guy Laliberté, was doing a big party every year at the Formula One, the Grand Prix Formula One race in Montreal. And George was there. And after jamming with our musician and having a good time at our party, he said, that would be great if we could do something together. He said, the gang, we're meeting next week in London, and if the gang, because they call themselves the
Gang.
gang, if the gang are in a good mood, I'll invite you and we'll talk about a project. And I said, yeah, but if the gang is not in a good mood, he said, oh, we're just going to go out and have a beer in a pub. So here we are going to London, not knowing if I'm going to have a beer with George Harrison, or maybe I will have the most important meeting in my life. So we're sitting in an hotel room, Guy and I, and we're talking to each other, but we're not listening to each other. We're just watching the phone to ring. And
Oh,
finally, the phone rang, and Guy hangs up and says, okay, the gang, they're in a good mood. We jump in a cab, rush to the Mandarin Hotel in London. And then that was like in a movie because everybody didn't know that the Beatles were there. And all there was in the hotel was security guards and all you can hear was the security guard saying, "Oh, people from Cirque du Soleil are coming. People from Cirque du Soleil are coming." And then boom, I wanted to pinch myself because I end up in the suite with the Beatles, and we sat down, and Ringo said, "What's the pitch?"
Mhm.
And we said, "There is no pitch. You're a creative force. We're a creative force. We're here to see if we could work together." And then Ringo turned to Paul and he says, "Wow, this is a change." And the rest is history. We had a lot of fun working with them, and I learned a lot from that. I've learned first to seize the opportunity because we went to London not knowing if something will happen. B, we showed leadership by showing them that we're not groupie. We're creators. As you are creators, and let's see if we can work together. And then we've been very respectful of each other when we had to develop the content together. So I spent a little bit too much time, but I thought the story was worthwhile.
It's a great story. Yeah, definitely great story. And it makes me also believe, add one thing to what your story says. It's what I call destiny. You never know what's going to be the outcome. That's what business development is about. Personally, I was in business development my whole career, so I can tell you that, taking a flight going to Phoenix, Arizona from New York and having to shake the hand of someone that I needed to see at all cost, and this guy didn't know who I was, and he sees me, I tell him the name of my company, and he gives me his business card. This is the day I wanted to happen. I always wanted your company to reach me. That's how it
Wow.
happened. So I don't understand my story, but I say this is
Right.
destiny, right? Destiny.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is.
All
So
right.
so
Yeah.
someone is raising
Yeah. Yeah.
their
Yeah.
hand.
Yanye is raising a hand. We don't see you, by the
Oh,
way. Uh,
yes, yes. I kind
oh,
of,
okay.
right. Do you want to see me? I can put that on.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. So I have a question for Delmere. Do you only work in music business? I work in fashion, and right now we're creating a TV show that I can't talk about. Like I have to have you sign an NDA. So my question is, do you work in do you only do music or you can also do reality TV? Because I may want to do a one-on-one with you for advice
Oh.
or yes. Yeah.
Yeah, is a design is a model.
Yeah.
It's a shame you don't put yourself on the image because you're a model, but she's a model, fashion model,
Yes.
and is coming from where do you come from already? I don't remember.
I'm from Gambia, West
Okay,
Africa. So I
yes.
was scouted and I was brought to this country to work in fashion. So I've been in the business for 15 years.
So precisely, what is your question exactly?
My
Besides
question,
to see.
does Delmere, do you only work with the musicians or do you also do reality TV and, you
Ah,
know,
Yeah,
just, the reality TV now we all are obsessed with,
we always I would say 99% of what we do is live show. So we don't do reality TV. We don't, there are some documentaries that are going to be done and are shooting right now about Cirque du Soleil, but we don't do reality show. But we're not only working within the music world, we also work with the movie industry. So we did a project with James Cameron, and we are also talking to those other IP owners, and we're always in an exploratory mode because I don't want to wake up one day and then learn that someone else is doing something that I should have done. So I explore on many fronts. For instance, as we speak, I'm talking with Pat McGrath. So if you're in the fashion industry, you might know of Pat. She's
Oh, I love Pat. She's a
yeah.
makeup artist with her
So,
own line. I use
so
Pat McGrath.
so Pat is a good friend of mine, and we're also looking about what we could do. Maybe could we do a fashion show? with Cirque du Soleil? Could we? So those are things that we're exploring, and we're also talking to her about maybe she could do the makeup design of one of our shows. So uh, I'm just mentioning her and James Cameron to show that we have a diversity of people that we work with in order to define what will be our next breakthrough.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
yeah, that's amazing. I love Pat. I actually worked for Pat when the very beginning when she was doing her online and testing it out. But I think now she's working for Louis Vuitton or Chanel.
Yeah, she's working with Louis Vuitton.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, and but she's also still doing the makeup design of most of the main fashion designer.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, well, that's amazing because the programming that we're doing is all fashion show and it's fashion and it has never been done.
Very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a very good angle, and yeah, is interested in this course because she also wants to see the business side of things. So that, like every student here, there is a question on the discussion chat on the chat from Ellen, who says that it's evident that being a risk taker, it leads you, Danielle, to great success. But how does do you recover when the risk doesn't work? That's the question.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah,
In fact, to me, it's very, very important from the get-go that you're not afraid of failure. And I did a lot of mistakes in my life, and I'm still doing a lot of mistakes. But doing mistakes is not important if you learn from it. I remember one day Guy and I we thought that we were too smart, and we said, "Oh, we have reinvented the circus world, so maybe we should reinvent vaudeville." So we did a vaudeville show. So the people that went to see the show that had never seen a Cirque du Soleil show thought that it was a good show. Our fans that knew Cirque du Soleil hated the vaudeville show. And so much so that after a month and millions of dollars invested, we had to pull off the plug. And the lesson there was very, very simple. If we wanted to do a vaudeville show, we should have never, ever put the brand of Cirque du Soleil on a vaudeville show. Because when people see Cirque du Soleil, they're expecting a huge human performance acrobatic act. And if you don't deliver on that, your fans are going to be disappointed. The other story that I also find interesting is, in one of our show, I remember the creators coming at me and says, Danielle, we don't have any animals in our show, and we agreed with that. But here's the idea. We're going to build a mechanical horse and we're going to have it in our show. And then I went to the rehearsal and so I see the horses and clack a clack, clack a clack. It's horrible. It's horrible. And then after the rehearsal, they look at me and they says, Danielle, we don't think you enjoy it. I said, are you kidding? I hated it. I hated it. And they says, okay, 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 cool down. We're going to,
yeah,
just send the horse and forget about it. I said, no, no, we're keeping the horse. And he says, how come? I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this horrible, huge mechanical horse and we're going to exhibit it in the creative department because I want this horse to be the symbol that at Cirque you are allowed to try things and to fail. And we're risk taker. And that's why I want us to remember and that what everybody, because everybody will ask, what is it about? And then we'll be able to explain that you can fail sometime in creation.
yep. That's a beautiful story. Also, maybe you have a partnership potential I have an idea for you, and it's Elon Musk with his robots, right? The ones that he's
Yeah.
coming up with.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Yeah,
Right?
can I jump in on that actually?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Lamarre. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Dr. Pulitzer, for making this opportunity possible. This is unbelievable to get a chance to pick your mind, Mr. Lamarre. I'm a dancer with New York City Ballet. I've been dancing there for 13 years, and so I have this background as an artist. And I was recently speaking for the board of directors at an event in West Palm Beach. And one of the donors approached me and said, I have this great idea that maybe in the future of New York City Ballet, they can use an AI hologram to reconstruct Baryshnikov or Rudolf Nureyev and have them perform on the stage. And what do you think of that?
Yeah.
And I kind of panicked, but I was like, I took a second and I said, well, it's a live, like you said, it's a live art form and people expect to see grand acrobatics performed in person. And I said to myself, well, I think it would be better if people watched a video of Rudolf Nureyev or a video of Baryshnikov in the archive and saw what made them so special in their live performances. But I think it's more important to discover what the new talent is and come to a live performance and keep at least the New York City Ballet Organization as a strictly live arts institution. But do you see Cirque du Soleil or other performing arts institutions utilizing AI from an artistic standpoint? Or do you think, is there a place for AI to be implemented from a business standpoint and development? Do you see that happening?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, there is a lot of debate about that. For instance, I don't know if you heard of Abba Voyage in London. So it's a show where they have developed the technology when the ABBA group uh, uh, is acting on stage, but it's done through AI technology, and
Wow.
it's like a live concert, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
hugely successful in London right now. And people go there and they forget that it's not the real ABBA, that band that is on stage, and people are dancing and yelling, and it's quite impressive. Having said that, I think, this is a very successful event. Now everybody wants to do that, and everybody wants to recreate it. They want to do Elton John in Vegas, and they want to do this and that. And I think it will have its limitation because ABBA Voyage did work because it was new. But the second one or the third one, or it's not going to be new anymore, and therefore, I think it has its limit. Personally, I'm a challenge with I'm very challenged with the fact that we have to involve technology because people wants that more and more. On the other end, I truly believe that there is nothing to replace human performance, because having a dancer or having an acrobat on stage with not only his or her body, but also have the emotion that you communicate to the public. So that's why I will continue to bet at Cirque du Soleil for the core of our business will remain human performances. It doesn't mean
That's great to hear.
pardon me?
That's great to hear as a dancer, as a performing artist. But I have a part two of my question, if you don't
Go
mind.
ahead.
We were reading an article for our class called "The Alchemy of I have it right here. The Alchemy of High Performing Arts Organizations" by SMU Data Arts, and it's sponsored by or commissioned by this company called Wallace. And it gathered data on companies that were able to that had a pattern of being successful through like the pandemic. What arts institutions had, were able to have the best bottom line or maintain their endowment, things like these, what strategies they used. And they mentioned they were spending on marketing. It was like every dollar they spent on marketing meant $5 in returns. They mentioned having a really active board. And the third one that I thought was really interesting was that they respond to what the community wants to see. So, and they talked about outreach and creating one organization, the Chicago Opera, started outreach programs and education and starting like a young arts orchestra for the community. So I guess my question for you is, how does Cirque du Soleil find out what the community looks for, wants to see from Cirque, or how is it helping Cirque develop as a company?
Yeah. You know, obviously we're known because of our creativity, and it has to remain that way as far as I'm concerned. But our hidden card is we're highly analytical. For instance, tonight we have 40 shows going on at the same time in the world. Every single spectator that will leave one of our theater or big tent will be asked, what did you enjoy about the show? What was your favorite act? What was the act that you didn't like? And we monitored on a regular basis. So if there is an act that is ranking last for 2 months, well, we're just going to take it out from the show and replace it by a better act. We have our studio here in Montreal, and it's a huge facility where we can rehearse our full show. And when we are in full rehearsing mode, what we do is we would bring public to see the new shows that we are developing. And because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. What's important is what the public think, because at the end of the day, they're the judge of our success or failure. So you might as well talk to them and listen to them. And so just to make you laugh for a moment, there is a lot of different ways to listen to your public. So my stupid way is during the intermission, I would hide in the restroom and I will stay there for the entire intermission, just listening to what the people are saying about the show. It's it's very important because people are just talking to each other and there is no screen, like they just say it as they've seen it. And that's not a science, but we do hire obviously research firm that will obviously use more science way of surveying public. But my bottom line is this: you have to be listening to the public all the time because the public evolves, the public change, the audience change, the demographic of your audience changes, and if you don't take stock of that, then one day you will wake up and you will not be relevant anymore. And that's my drama. That's my obsession. Every time we create a new show, you should see how much pressure there is in the studio because we don't want to create a bad show. And it's not a science to create a show. It's an art. And you don't know if your show is good or not until you present it to an audience.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. That was really, really a lot of wisdom. Thank you.
I don't know how much time you have, Danielle. I don't want to. How much time do you have? Question.
Yeah, I've been asked, I think, to leave around 10 to 7. Is that what was planned?
Okay. It is 20 to 7. So you would have about 10 minutes. Everybody has about 10 minutes to spend.
That's correct. Yeah.
So that's great. 10 minutes gives the chance to more of you, and we'll try to make our answers a little shorter.
Yeah,
But we love your stories, so I don't want to say that.
Right.
I don't want to say that. I just want to share something very quickly. That's my opportunity to say it. For me, when we talk about creativity of the Cirque du Soleil, I'm going to give you a little bit. So my youth to go to drama school in Paris and to be on stage for a few years professionally, I always saw, when I saw the Cirque du Soleil the first time, I say, wow, I think it was I saw it in Las Vegas. And I said, wow, this is a mix of different styles of performance. One is commedia dell'arte, really the Italian Arlequin and all these characters that are really a type of performance, a type of acting. So it's theater. Then I saw the circus part of it with the clowns and with the clowns, but they are not particularly funny, the clowns, not necessarily. Sometimes they're very sad. And then thirdly, the stage. If there is a lot of effects that you see, a lot of things that are live in front of you, it's not a movie, it's theater. Amazing, to have people under the water to wait for things. That's what people are plunging at every time you think they're going to fall on the floor and the floor opens. It's unbelievable. When I saw all of that, I said, I've never seen such a thing in my life. I mean, never. So I think you continued that culture, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, no, it's important that I say that. Anyone else, guys?
I have another question.
1 second, Laurie,
so-
if I may just ask you for a second, because I would like to have everybody participate.
Yeah.
If there is a question for someone else, but I'm sure you're going to have the opportunity to ask your question. I just want to make sure. I don't know about Devon, about Margot, about Damien, about
I have
Yvette.
a question.
Yes.
Sorry, Laurie. You want
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Sorry, Laurie, I didn't want to cut you
No,
off.
no. Go ahead, guys. I'm chatty. Go ahead.
All right.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Lamarre, for taking the time to come here. We really do appreciate it so much. I have a short question. I just wanted, I'm into business, and then this is the first time like I have a business partner. So I wanted to ask, what is the biggest lesson in building long-term relationships with business partners, and how has it shaped the way you collaborate today?
Yeah, it's first and foremost, I strongly believe that partners should be very different one to another, because you have to be complementary. Because if you're two look alike, then it becomes a source of conflict. Like Guy Laliberté and I, you couldn't find two more different guys. You had an artist and a business guy, and the reasons why we have been working for so long together is because the territory of each was very, very clear. And I would never interfere on the content because he's an artist, and he will never interfere on the business because I'm a businessman. So the why we have that very well defined, and I would say that it probably took us a year before we, start to understand each other better, and then agreed and defined the role and responsibility of each other. But if there is one word at the end of the day that works, it's respect. You have to be very, very respectful of your partner. I remember when I was in PR, my partner was older than myself. And one year I created more business than him. And he said, you should do more money than me. And I said, no, because you're the founder. I will never accept that I do more money than you. Even if I do just $1 less than you, that would be good. And that conversation has cemented our relationship forever because we show that we were respectful of each other. And I always wanted to be more generous because I always thought that generosity comes back. I'm a true believer of that. So I wouldn't mind letting go something today because I know that if I let go $1 today, $10 will come back one day. So and that's the other thing I recommend to anybody. Be generous with your partner, and I think your partner will pay you back on the long term.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I have one question, right? So, in the contract of the partnership, it was supposed to be 50-50%, right? So how would you handle the situation where your partner comes back and said that we might need to give some percentage to someone who is financing the business?
Mhm.
How would you handle that? Because for me, it's like it's about trust and respect, like you said. So coming back and then telling me a situation like that, it's kind of conflicting, and then it kind of gives me a red light in the partnership already at the beginning. So if how would you handle something like that? Do you just
Yeah.
cut off the partnership, or move on?
Yeah, if it happened early in the game, I would be concerned, and I understand what you're saying. On the other end, if the organization needs money, then maybe you have no choice than dilute yourself. But if you do, let's make sure that the 50-50 partnership between you and your partner is still respected. So in other words, if you have to give up 10%, uh, then both of you should be, at the same level, 45-45. And that's what I will be, making sure that it's happening. The other thing I will make sure is that he cannot at any given point become a majority with the other partner, because then
Yes,
then then
that
then
is what.
then you're, I'm sorry to say that, but then you're fucked.
No, Mr. Lamarre, the second partner is his brother. The financier is actually his twin brother. So that is really conflicting with the majority
Yeah,
part of the business for me. Yeah.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
point. Good point. So we're reaching
Thank you.
the 1 minute. In 1 minute, I think Daniel has to leave. Laurie, if you can also send a question. I can eventually send questions to Daniel. I don't know if you will have the time to reply to me, but if your questions are essential and you want an answer, maybe you will be. He has been so kind already to share this time. But anyway, I can always send them to him. Maybe he
Yeah,
can.
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, because I don't want to delay him. He said he
Yeah,
needs
yeah,
to
that's
leave.
fine. I get it. I
And
get
it
it.
is 6:50
But
exactly
but
now.
I can, on my theme of generosity,
Okay.
I can spend extra time to answer that last question.
Okay.
So go
Wonderful.
ahead,
Thank you.
Laurie.
Thank you. So I am in the music industry. I've been there over a decade. And I do have a question regarding crisis management. I know when COVID hit, we went through a very hard time in reinventing how we're going to generate income, especially in managing clientele. How have you guys gone through and navigated that ship? And what do you intend to do in the future, God forbid, another crisis like that hits?
Yeah. Listen, we came very close to lose our company because we spent, as you know, many months without shows, without revenues.
Yeah.
But the one thing which is important in our industry is the only asset you have at the end of the day, or the main asset you have, is your brand. And the reasons why we're still alive today, it's because of our brand. So what we did when the company was shut down with the pandemic, we have created a network called Cirque Connect, and we have presented every week content of our shows, of behind the show, to remain present. At the end of the exercise, 12 months later, we had reached out to 72 million people. And that's how I've been able to convince the banker to support us, because I told them there is 72 million people that are waiting for us to come back. And I guess my point here is that even if you're in a crisis like the pandemic, there is always room for creativity. And I always
Absolutely.
said that what is the best trigger to your creativity is when you put in the middle of the table a problem and you say, I have an issue here. How am I going to resolve it? And that's where your creativity come at stake. And that's what we're doing. If there will be another crisis, we will come up with either resurrecting the Cirque Connect or reinvent something else. But we would go back to the drawing board and to the drawing board, and we will be looking for immediate solution.
That's great. Yeah.
Thank
There's a lot of
you.
wisdom here. Thank you so much, Danielle. I cannot thank you enough on behalf of everyone. And again, if there's any other questions, send them to me, and maybe I'll convey them if I find them really very interesting. Okay, if I may.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle.
Good
Be
luck to
well.
all of you guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay with me, guys. Okay. Right. Let me